Our first story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not telling my child's biological father that his rights had been terminated years ago? I had a child with an ex-boyfriend. He left me, declared he had changed his mind about being a parent, and ghosted. After a few months, the lack of any formal custody agreement was starting to cause legal problems with my child's care, so I had to chase him down to get him to sign some kind of custody agreement. I had an agreement drafted by a lawyer that had primary custody going to me, but with visitation rights for him. I also had my lawyer provide me documents that would terminate his parental rights, so I could offer that as well. I finally tracked him down. He screamed at me for a while, and he grabbed the first paper from me and signed it without reading it, asking me if I would finally leave him alone now. I hadn't contacted him at all before this. Imagine my surprise when I realized he actually signed to give up parental rights. On the advice of my lawyer, I had it filed with the court immediately. There was a hearing, which he received summons for but refused to appear in, and his rights were terminated. I never sought child support and moved on with my life, but kept all necessary documents related to it in a folder, so that my child can have that information when they are old enough to ask. Years passed. I have never been opposed to having him be a part of my child's life if he contacted me, but the safety and security of my child, both legally and emotionally, is my top priority, and I'm glad I can provide that. He apparently got married, and his wife contacted me with a scathing letter about how they would file for custody. I was a monster for keeping him from his child, blah blah blah. I simply replied with, Ma'am, dude voluntarily signed away his parental rights to child in 2013. Please see the attached court order and copy of the documents that is signed by dude. You can also look up case number on State Court Records website, accessible to the public, or contact courthouse directly for more information. Good day. They are screaming to all that will hear that this was illegal, that they're going to get it overturned, that I coerced him into signing by holding papers, and they'll get full custody on the spot because I'm just so evil. His mother, who I speak to, is on my side because he's been so long with nothing, but thinks I should have given him a chance to realize what he was signing before filing it. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments of this post. Not the a-hole. Didn't read what he signed and was busy throwing a tantrum. That's strike one on him. He didn't show up to court when summoned. That's strike two. He didn't get in contact for years, only after he got remarried. Final strike. He had all the time in the world to have a relationship with his child, but didn't want to be bothered about it. Now it's done and over, and I doubt there is anything he can do because he willingly signed the papers without reading them. That is on him. He had his chance. He blew it. You tried to explain. He didn't want to hear and just to yell. On him, he blew it again. Not your problem, and get your lawyer to handle it. There is little he can do after all these years, and no court would give him full custody after abandoning his child for so long. He just wants to complain that he's now not getting his way, nothing more. I think strike three should be counted double since it was actually his wife contacting OP. This is beyond ridiculous. Get a lawyer and enjoy the ride. It probably won't be pretty, but that's not on you. You're doing good avoiding them, especially for the sake of your child, not the a-hole. Seriously, he's definitely been telling his wife some crap to make himself look better. Dude signed the papers and refused to appear in court when summoned. No judge is ever going to rule in their favor. His new wife should be taking a long, hard look at the situation and question whether she should really be pursuing a future with him. In any case, you sought to do right by your child, not the a-hole. Not to mention how many years it's been since he signed it and ignored the court order. He, or his wife, can run around screaming it's a mistake. But the first question anyone is going to ask is, what took you so long? On what grounds do they think they could get full custody anyway? They get laughed out of court, not the a-hole. Because dude has probably told new wife a lovely long story where he is the wonderful father who desperately wants to see his kid, but evil mother won't allow him, blah blah. And new wife has just swallowed a whole load of BS and truly believes father of the year wants and deserves custody because mom is so terrible, etc. I highly doubt deadbeat dad even has the slightest interest in custody. He's just flexing for new wife and letting her fight his battles whilst trying to look like the good guy. That was our first story. The next one is titled, Am I the a-hole for bringing my ex to court after he refused to see our kids because it was racing season? My ex and I have 2 kids together. We were together for nearly 11 years and split 5 years ago. The first 2 years went fine. He saw the kids every other weekend and checked up on them often. 3 years ago, however, he started dating a girl from the racetrack who happens to race every Thursday and Saturday night. This instantly got him into the gig. During that time, his every other weekend visits were put on hold and he stopped seeing the kids altogether during the raising months. Usually 3 to 5 months at a time, depending on whether and if he could raise or not, simply because he and his girlfriend both raised on different days. As I said, she is Thursday and Saturday, he is Wednesday and Friday. Not once has he asked if I could bring the kids to his races. He has also stopped paying child support because all their extra cash goes to fixing up their race cars after races, which apparently becomes over the top expensive. I didn't say anything up until a year ago. I told him I was done making excuses for him and that if he didn't start putting the kids as his top priority, I would be taking him to court. After that, he blocked me off of everything and didn't see them until almost a month ago, for the first time in a year. And that was only because we happened to be visiting my cousin and he showed up. He filled the kids' heads with, "I've missed you so much. I'm going to start my visit up again, blah blah." Then he went no contact again and has made 0 attempts. So, the courthouse just opened, and as soon as it did, I went down and filed paperwork for full custody, child support, and visitation. When we first split up, I told him I would not do this, so I went back on my word. I get a nasty phone call from my ex-mother-in-law, stating that I was money hungry, and that I was trying to stress her precious son out and make him feel bad for having an actual hobby, unlike myself. Yes, she said I have no hobbies. Pretty hard when I'm a single mom of 2, who works 2 jobs just to keep a roof over my babies' heads. He also has been posting on social media saying which kept my kids from me and now wants child support for a failed relationship. Laughing my freaking ass off. Go figure. I never kept the kids from him. I have loads of texts sent asking him to take them with no response. I think it's justified what I did, but now I'm worried about how it is going to affect my kids because it's obvious that forcing him to take kids he doesn't want may not be the best option. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Be sure to take a screenshot of any derogatory social media posts about you. It will be useful in your custody hearing. Not the a-hole. Use the one from the mother-in-law too. She's admitting he has money and spend it on racing, knowingly denying his kids child support. Not the a-hole, and be sure to capture all of those screenshots for your attorney. I'm so sorry for you and your 2 kids. Not the a-hole. Yes, add liable to the complaint. Not the a-hole. He hasn't been paying child support, provable. He hasn't been taking the kids during his time, likely provable, but hard to attribute blame. He's not fulfilling his obligations, so you are absolutely right to take him to court. Ignore his social media. It doesn't matter. Ignore his mother. She isn't there making him take the kids. It's all about your kids and their well-being. Now for the last story, am I the a-hole for telling my wife we shouldn't have any more kids? My wife and I have been married 6 years, and we have a 2-year-old daughter. My wife adores kids and wanted at least 3. I talked her down from 5. I work, she's a stay-at-home mom. We started trying for a baby a little over a year into marriage. There were 2 miscarriages before our daughter. My wife had HG during about half of her pregnancy and developed preeclampsia at 24 weeks. We ended up having a scheduled C-section for our daughter, and my wife had her tubes tied during it. I really can't understate how bad this pregnancy was for my wife. Our daughter ended up in the NICU for 6 weeks after birth. She's a healthy toddler now, but goddamn was that the worst experience of my life. I was fine with having just 1 daughter, but my wife has been dropping hints about more kids. Nothing explicit, but she's been cooing over baby stuff and has mentioned, "Oh, I miss when daughter was that little." She approached me this week and said her sister would agree to be our surrogate. This is the first time she ever mentioned surrogacy to me. My wife said it was the dream solution to more kids. I told her I didn't like that she apparently talked to her sister about this before she asked me, her husband, and her response was that she wanted a solid plan before coming to me. I researched it a bit. The IVF itself would cost anywhere between $10,000 to $20,000 a round, and multiple rounds are common. That's not accounting for embryo storage or the doctor visits either. All that on top of childcare costs. We talked more about this, and I told her I didn't want to use surrogacy. She really wants more kids. She doesn't want our daughter to be an only child and asked if I didn't want to try for a boy too. I'm totally fine with just 1 kid, and let her know I wasn't cool with this. She then pulled out the, "But you promised me we'd have at least 3, which yeah, I agreed to that before she almost died. I also said we couldn't reasonably finance it without messing ourselves over. She was adamant we would make it work, even if things were a bit tough at first. This led to a fight. I asked why 1 kid wasn't enough, and she said she wanted a big family, and our daughter deserved a sibling. I, an only child by the way, told her it's not the end of the world to be without siblings. She got snippy and said, "Well, look how well that turned out for you." I told her we didn't need any more kids, and if she was going to act like a child, we definitely shouldn't have any more. I've been in the doghouse for like 2 days now. She's upset, and anytime the situation is brought up, it just seems to get worse. She seems to think I'm enjoying crapping on her plans for a family, and has told me she didn't know she married a liar. I really don't know if I'm the bad guy here. We have one healthy, adorable little girl and a good life. Putting ourselves in financial ruin just for more kids seems like the worst idea. I know we agreed to something else when we married, but things changed. Now let's read the judgment for this one. Not the a-hole. You have the right ideas, man. Too many people have kids they can't afford or ruin their financial situation. Would she consider getting a job? That might help with a financial situation. That's a question I had too. Also, would she consider adoption? That depends on where you are and how you want to do it. The cheapest way isn't the us, is to foster kids from the system who either don't have living relatives who can care for them or whose parents are in the process of being stripped of their rights. But not people don't want anything but a newborn or kids who already have extra trauma. And the point of fostering is to reunite bio families, if at all possible. So yeah, getting a 20 tiny baby is just as expensive. Isn't the foster system designed to reunite kids with their biological parents? I can't imagine taking care of a kid for however long just to have them taken away again. No a-holes here. It must be very hard for her not to be able to have her own kids after spending her life dreaming of a big family. But she has clearly spent time thinking and planning this. Well, this is the first you've thought about it, so you were caught off guard, and it's natural to have practical concerns. Couples counseling and financial counseling might be really beneficial for you two to sort through your feelings and plans on this. I think she is an a-hole for talking to her sister about being a surrogate before even talking to her husband. OP is absolutely in his right to not want to be in financial risky situation. Not the a-hole. You are allowed to change your mind and you shouldn't have kids if you don't want to. But I don't think she's the a-hole either, even if she leaves. She married you believing you both wanted 3 kids, and now things have changed. And those are the stories for this video, folks. Share us your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you enjoy the content, hit like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell to get updated on the latest videos. I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.